So this is it. We're live. We've got Sally here. I'm Robin Cook, and today we've got Sally Lawrence. Or Sally Johnston. You actually have two names, don't you, Sally?
Sally Johnston's the maiden name.
Yes.
And now Lawrence. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're
Married.
using that as part of your business, aren't you?
Yeah, my name's Sally Lawrence. That's my website, and I guess it was hard when I got married. I was so attached to Johnston, having been that for the majority of my life. And so now Sally Lawrence.
Yeah, that's an interesting process, isn't it?
It is. It's
changing and finding all of the different parts of your life where you're still one and not the other.
That's it. We're fully amalgamated now. All the documentation and everything you've got to sign off. So
well done.
Yeah,
so what's your business called then?
So my website is sallylawrence.com.au, but my business as a whole is Black Cockatoo.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And you know, every time, and we get black cockatoos because we're almost neighbours, really,
I think
aren't
we're
we?
on the same
as the
flight
black,
path.
yeah, as the black cockatoo flies. So every time the black cockatoos come over here,
They come this way in the morning when I'm walking through palm woods.
I think of you.
Yeah.
Every time. It's
Lovely.
incredible. And I look up and I see them wheeling about and I think of Sally.
Aren't they amazing?
They are
A
astonishing.
friend of mine just took a photo, and it had about 5 black cockatoos in it at all the different stages of flight, you know, from the arms way up and like that.
How magnificent.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. So what has led you to start your business?
Well, about 5 years ago, I had Tom, my firstborn, in 2012, so I had to finish work up there for the Department of Education. And I think, looking back now, I actually had a bit of an identity crisis in a way, in that I'd worked for so long, and my work kind of defined partly who I was, and now I was a mum. And I was at home and I wasn't, going and doing stuff. I had all of these amazing ideas in my mind, but my role at that point in time was to be a mum. So that was initially, a bit hard for me. And then George came along 2 years later. We were about to celebrate all our birthdays. But that 3 years at home, I was able to do quite a few projects, and it was funny, somebody had asked me for a community organisation to build a website. So I went to one of the remember the community colleges had it, and you could build your website for $300 and they taught you. So I went to do that for the organisation, and then they said, oh no, not quite ready. So I was like, well, I've got the skills. What am I going to do? So I built my own website, and I thought, well, that can hold some of the pictures, and I guess it becomes like a electronic resume as such, and that I can share all the projects that I'm doing and keep it there in that website. So for that 3 years, I did a couple of projects with the Ration Shed Museum out at Cherbourg.
Yes.
Writing education books, as well as the Boys from Baramba, the Black Diggers story, which was brilliant. So in that 3 years, and then I thought, I think I want to go back to work. So I did for 18 months, back to that role of Manager for Indigenous Education for North Coast region. But in the last couple of months, I had that change again. I've had a bit of a doozy of a year, to be honest. A few curveballs. And so from that, I really, I guess, tapped into and started to be aware of the signs that were around me, and things were kind of leading me into another direction. And usually, like, I think, I'm going this way, and then all of a sudden it was like, no, I think you need to go this way. So whilst that's challenging, I was pretty proud of myself. I'd usually get my tits in a tangle, but this time I just kind of thought I need to go with where this is leading me. So
that's fantastic. So have you always had an interest in Indigenous education? Did you start your teaching career in that area?
Yeah, well, I graduated from Bachelor of Early Childhood in 1995, went overseas 2 years, came back, didn't want to work. I had this idea, Robin, that female teachers wore matching applique outfit with green eyeshadow. I had this mental picture, right? And I was like, no, that's not me. I'd just come back from the Middle East, and I'd lived there for about 5 or 6 months, and I wasn't quite ready to go into that conformity I had in my mind. So I went and did my Masters in Environmental Ed, and when I was at uni originally with my teacher's degree, I'd met some Torres Strait Island fellas and used to play beach volleyball with them.
Okay.
And they all used to yarn up about how great the Torres Strait was and all of these things. And anyway, I finished my Masters, and this ad came in the newspaper, in the Courier Mail, Director of Thursday Island Childcare Centre.
Wow,
Like, well,
that's like your job.
Yeah, I had an early childhood degree, and you know, culture, I just really wanted to be around culture and learn so much. So, and I thought of these fellas that had told me about the Strait. So I applied for the job, and like the true rock star, got flown up for the job interview. I thought, wow, and got to spend 48 hours on Thursday Island and fell in love with it.
So how old were you then?
Oh, geez, Robin, I don't know.
Sorry.
I'm 1998,
Okay.
99, actually 99, so I must have been 26.
Okay.
So, yeah, I got the job, and so I headed up, and I had 4 years, and part of my role I was teaching at the front preschool, and then I took up different roles flying out to the outer island communities, working with kids who had hearing impairments and intellectual impairments. So that was interesting, you know, go to work in a chopper some days, because these islands that you can't get to in a plane and don't have airstrips. So and that gave me a great sense of how different, even within the Torres Strait, people who identify as Torres Strait Islanders are, you know, their communities, their islands, their different customs, their totems, like black cockatoo, and that meaning it has for me. Was just so rich. I left there in about 2002 and went back teaching in school camps out at Sunday Creek Environmental Ed Centre.
Ah, yes, okay. Yeah, that's a fabulous place.
Yeah, so I used to do the day camps, or the week camps there, and also these treks where we'd walk kids through the bush for 42 Ks. Bit like, do you remember that show, Brat Pack or Brat Camp?
Yeah.
Where kids who were disengaged from education or education wasn't providing them
what
the
they
educated
needed.
they needed, we'd go walk through the bush for 3 days with everything on our backs and talk.
Yeah. How fabulous is that? Is that something that you're going to do with your sons as they get older? Do you see the value in bringing that into your own family?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe not that distance, although we just did Carnarvon a couple of months ago, and the boys comfortably walked probably about 6 or 7 Ks, had to carry them out, but
that's pretty good.
They did really well.
Excellent.
So school camps, and then in 2006 an opportunity came up to work for Indigenous Education, so I grabbed that. And again, it was, you know how we talk, those things that have happened in the past, you're joining the dots, that accumulation of experiences you've had.
That's a really important point, I think, because I employ that in my work, where I'll suddenly find myself in a situation I have no idea if there'll be any benefit whatsoever, but I'll head off in that way for a while and maybe lay some groundwork, I think it's like, and then come back to it several years later.
But it's that all those experiences you've had before. So I was doing Indigenous play groups, started those, and gifted and talented programs. So for the last 10 years, been involved with Indigenous Ed for Ed Queensland. Taking my break now, it's I guess it's identifying and knowing that your passion is your power. And so for somebody who's been, you know, employee or public servant for so long, it's a real mind shift as you cross over into having your own business to, you know, tax, super, you know, how do you charge, what's time worth, all of those things. It's a new space. So at the moment I'm reflying. I guess the black cockatoo's gone back up in the air, and doing some work around curriculum, with the Australian curriculum, and writing education programs, and doing a review at the moment for World War I Black Diggers project. So they're exciting, and a review doing a review of some Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander scholarships. So, yeah.
So that's all of those years in that area really are informing what your work is now.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's all of those things that have happened in the past that I guess that's identifying your passion. For me, it wasn't a job. It was a passion, it was a job, it was my life, the work I
and
did.
that's how it's difficult to disentangle your personality and your sense of who you are from your work. And I had that exact same experience when I left the Stephanie Alexander Kitchen Garden Foundation, and I had enmeshed everything about who I was in that role. And even though thought I was completely prepared when my contract finished, which was inevitable, and you know, we all knew it was going to happen, I was actually quite unprepared for how I felt about that. Yeah, it was really interesting.
It's part of your identity. So how do you, my dad always said, make everything you do a stepping stone, not a tombstone. So how do you take, you know, and it's just collecting those bits from your life and the different roles and experiences, I guess, that you have to take it to the next level, and in what kind of context you need to represent that in.
So how are you going to structure your work now? Because that was the other thing that I found, is that in leaving an environment where I had a manager and I had a team and we're all working towards the same goal, now I'm the manager, I'm the team, I'm everything, and I have to really discipline myself in and thinking creatively around how to structure. So how are you tackling that?
The projects at the moment are determining that.
Okay.
That's what's driving my timetable. But yeah, I do think, I do wonder how, make sure that I've still got that balance. You know, you're up at night at 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning getting stuff done because you've got 2 kids that need you during the day. So, you know, I said to Pete the other day, geez, I'm even more buggered than what I was when I worked for the department. So, yeah, but as Pete had reminded me, you know, projects will come in and, you know, it's not a consistent. So there will be those down times where I'll probably be like, I've got to, you know, find something to do. But I've got to also learn to just be and sit and be in the garden, you know, today, because that's like your third space.
You've scrubbed up quite well. Half an hour ago, you were in the mud.
In the mud, because the other part of what I do too is we've just built a retreat, a cabin at home, the Black Cockatoo retreat. So we're, you know, when we came into this property 7 years ago, it was overgrown, and we've managed to put in paths and trails, make beautiful gardens, and we've got a cabin that people can come and stay on Airbnb and share what we enjoy. We get to have that every day. So that's my third space, and that's the space, I guess, when there are no projects or work, I can be working on the property, which then supports the retreat. So,
what do you think it tells your boys about? I mean, I know that they're too young to really comprehend it now, but what will it tell your boys in the future around moving and changing? Because they talk about children now having however many careers and quite distinctly different careers, and how to move through that transition with confidence.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I wouldn't have had that, well, possibly didn't have that confidence a few years ago, because I was brought up with you get the gold watch kind of idea.
Job for life.
Yeah, so you do your teacher's training and there you've got an employer and a steady income for the rest of your life. So yeah, it's taking that punt, and I guess there's an amount of there's nerves, there's anxiety, but there's also that flip of that where you've got to, you know, walk into a meeting and you've got to be confident, not too cocky, but be confident and know your worth, know your potential, and you've got to back yourself, and that can be really scary, hey?
Absolutely.
And I guess what I'm just trying to do is come back. I've got this little sign from Dee Greer, Mancali's cards. It says on my desk, your passion is your power. And sometimes when I do feel that anxiety that may build around, can I do this? I remind myself, this is my passion. So I'm
You're pretty excited, aren't you?
I'm excited, but I get nervous too, and that's
For sure.
natural. And I think that kicks you along and that motivates you, and you're like, I can do this.
Yeah.
So-
yeah. What new skills have you had to learn to be a business person?
IT.
IT.
So for me, it was growing confidence. It's a new world. You said that with the kids, how are you going to support them into that new world? I'm just trying to become more confident with IT, like my website and social media, because that's a platform for me to get the word out. So far, the work that has come to me has been through referrals, so that reminds me as well is that every project I'm on that I'm doing my absolute best at, because
sure.
that will bring some traffic back to me, and that's what's happened. So that word of mouth. So yeah, exciting times.
Yeah, and so what do you see as? I mean, how do you see that business playing out then? Are you looking at a 10-year plan or a 5-year plan or a 20-year plan or something like that? Have you got that kind of a time frame?
I haven't actually stepped that out, and that's something I acknowledge I could do. Is create a business plan. I guess I'm only 4 weeks or a month into being fully detached from the department and on this journey. So it would be timely to do something like that. Where will it take me? I don't know. You know.
Open to it, really, aren't you?
I am. I'm kind of just getting a sense of what the work is and which each stepping stone that's coming to me, where's it going to lead me to. But I guess in a broader sense is business plans, things like that, tax. You've got to navigate that financial space now.
Absolutely.
And when I was on leave for that first 3 years, I didn't know much about the tax, and got that letter. It's like, what? Okay.
It's a heart stopper, isn't it?
It is. Because your super's. I'm not making super, and anything you make, you've got to account for that in your invoicing.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
And tuck it away so that when you get that letter, you can go, no worries, there you go.
Yeah. And what about mentoring? Are you looking for mentors to help you through some of those things? Is that how you're doing it, or are you doing YouTube videos, or are you just winging it?
I'm partly winging it, Robin.
Yeah.
I'm also asking people who I know have that specialised, within my friends circle.
Yep.
Reaching out to them to say, hey, what do I need to be aware about here? Yeah, definitely YouTube and Google is definitely helping, because that information, it's so readily available now. People are sharing through blogs and things like platforms like that. So that's definitely helping. But it's just winging it, tap dancing, moonwalking sometimes. But I learned from that.
Fantastic. Anything else exciting that's happening at the moment?
Oh, just a couple of projects. The kids, the retreat. Yeah.
They must be growing. I haven't seen them for ages.
Oh, nearly 5. Well, yeah.
I have seen photos,
Yeah, Tuesday Tom's 5 and the week after George's 3.
Wow.
So Tom's about to go to school. So that's going to be part of the balancing act as well next year, because you can't drop kids off in prep before 8:30.
That's right.
So I guess having this time now, not being racing to Maroochydore to get a car park by 7 o'clock.
Yes.
Shifting those priorities. It's about family. It's about the kids and supporting my family, whilst still supporting myself with maintaining my identity about who I am and what my passion is, by doing projects and contributing, and hopefully making a little bit of money to come back in, because that's the reality, to support my family and pay my way.
Absolutely. It's actually a lot to think about, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you step it out like that. Does it keep you awake at night?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I just keep doing work. But no, it's about my passion and following that and believing in myself.
Yeah.
Having those doubts, but using that to drive, using those nerves to drive me to work it out. So
it's exciting.
it is.
Well done. All right. Well, I reckon we've pretty well covered it. What do you think?
Yeah, thanks, Robin.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the opportunity to come sit on the couch with you.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing to do, and I'm excited about talking to just a whole range of women, particularly, but we're not going to be completely exclusive, because I'm really interested in that transition between one steady part of life to something a little bit scarier and a bit different, and showing and seeing how that transition happens, because it really is quite significant, and it doesn't happen overnight, does it? You really do take a few years. For some people it is overnight because you retrenched or some calamitous life change
and you may
happens.
jump into something in that interim if it was a significant severing.
Yes.
Jumping into a couple of things, but as I said, just see where it goes. What comes from that, and be conscious of the time and energy that you give,
and seeking out help.
Yes,
because there is help out there.
There's a network.
Actually lots of
somebody's
help.
Done all this stuff before you've even thought about it. So.
And I was reflecting on that the other day, actually, and what I realise now that I didn't realise 30-something years ago when we started our very first business, is that in saying that you are not an expert in one thing doesn't mean that you're actually hopeless. It's saying, I actually just don't know this. Can you tell me? And it's not about your idea being bad. It's just about having to go through that process of thinking it through.
Yeah.
That never occurred to me 36 years ago when we started our first business.
So that's life.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
And you just embrace it, and it becomes part of your fabric and your story of who you are.
Yep.
But yeah, definitely those networks that you need to tap into those, and it's like the cheat sheet, I guess. It can help you
or
avoid
a support sheet.
Yeah. It can help avoid some of those pitfalls, and there needs to be more of that sharing and the networks that you tap into.
Yes.
They're fantastic.
Yeah. Well, we've got the old AMBO, our Monday morning business women's group, which you're most welcome to come along sometime, or every week. I mean, we're there pretty well every week.
Kids on Monday.
Yep.
Yep.
And that's what happens too.
Yeah.
You really just work around
Juggle
all of these things and prioritise what you need to prioritise.
And that inspiration, something you may never have thought about, may pop up through that.
Yeah.
So.
All right, thanks, Sal.
Thanks, Rob.
We'll talk again, and I really do need to start walking
come back
again.
Walking. We've missed you for too long now. We're
too long.
walking tomorrow morning at 4:50. So.
All right, 4:50 tomorrow. I'll do my best. We'll see. All right.
Will
Thank
she
you.
be there?
Thanks for joining us again, and we'll all charge through our week. As we do, I'm keen to hear what your plans are for the week, so let us know. And thanks for our behind the scenes work. And I'll see you later.